Hello friends! Continuing our training videos on the LS brand M100 inverter, today we want to talk about another feature of the M100 inverter. The feature we're going to learn about today is the auto restart settings. What is this feature? If a fault occurs in your inverter and that fault is cleared, if you have enabled the auto restart feature in the M100 inverter, the inverter will automatically start again after this fault is resolved. It begins starting up and your electric motor starts. But one thing you should keep in mind is that if these faults include low voltage, emergency stop, inverter overheating, or a hardware problem in the inverter, the auto restart feature will no longer function and won't be activated. Now, for the parameter you need to set for the auto restart feature in the M100 inverter, you must go to the protection parameter group, or PR, and look at parameter number 9. Parameter number 9 relates to the auto restart count. It says if the inverter is to automatically restart after a fault has occurred, how many times is it allowed to do this after the fault is cleared? You can set this parameter from 0 to 10 times. If you set parameter PR09 to 3, the inverter is allowed to perform an auto restart only 3 times. This means if only 3 faults occur in the inverter and are cleared, the inverter can start your electric motor again. So the auto restart count is the number of restarts the inverter is allowed to perform. Now, PR number 10 is the auto restart delay time. It says the inverter, after a fault occurs and is then cleared, how many seconds should it wait before restarting again and start your electric motor once more? You specify this duration in parameter PR10. So we learned how to enable the auto restart feature in the M100 inverter using parameters PR9 and PR10. In PR9, we specify the number of times the inverter can restart the electric motor after a fault occurs and is cleared. And in PR10, we also specify the delay time for how many seconds the inverter waits to restart after a fault is cleared. Let's go and apply the settings we learned to the M100 inverter and test this feature together. Okay, for the auto restart feature, we said we first go to parameter number 9 from the PR group. We go to the PR group, parameter number 9. We specify the number of times the inverter is allowed to restart after the fault is cleared. For example, we'll set it to 3 here. In PR10, we specify the amount of time the inverter waits after the fault is cleared to restart the electric motor. For example, we'll set it to 3. Now, how do we create a fault? We want to do this using a 0-1 switch. We define this 0-1 switch as an external trip. Where should we define it? We go to the IN group. I've connected this 0-1 switch to digital input P3. Digital input P3 is IN67. I'll set IN67 to 18 so that the digital input P3 pin acts as an external trip if it's activated. I'll confirm it and go back. Now, I'll start the inverter. My inverter starts up. Now, if I activate my 0-1 switch, you'll see the external trip fault appear on the inverter. Now, if I deactivate the 0-1 switch and my fault is cleared, 3 seconds later, the inverter should start automatically. I've deactivated the 0-1 switch. Now, 3 seconds later, you'll see that after my fault was cleared, the inverter automatically started working again.